We are in the Hill County Courtroom, Hill County Courthouse in Hillsborough, and the quorum of commissioners is present and established. Further, this meeting was posted in accordance with Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. This meeting is open to the public, both into and through online, and we'll get to that here in just a bit. First, is there anybody here this morning from the Hillsborough Ministerial Alliance? Going once, going twice. We're going right along. I haven't had you in my courtroom for so long. Could you do me a favor this morning? If I asked you to do the invocation, would you do it? Thank you so much, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, you rise and invocation.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be part of our government here in Hill County. We ask your blessings upon these commissioners and our judge, and ask your favor upon our deliberations today and their particular actions. Father, we don't want to take for granted, even for a moment, the freedoms that we enjoy. And as we think about July the 4th right around the corner, Lord, help us realize your blessings upon this nation and upon us individually, and help us to do our part as we go forward to carry forth all that you have enabled us with to work with and to do in your honor and service of Christ. We pray.
Amen. If you'll follow me to the pledge of Texas, American and the Texas flags. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
All right, thank you for being with us here this morning. Greatly appreciate it. Commissioner Montgomery, what's going on in Hill County Precinct 1 this morning?
It's dry.
I have heard
Dry. Need some rain. We got asphalt projects we gotta get finished and we need rain for those roads and new blade. We just need to finish.
I saw you earlier, look like you've been wrestling trees.
They've been falling out of the ground for some reason. I spent all weekend cutting up trees that fall across the road. And the guys came in yesterday morning. We went around and spent all day chipping. I don't know what's going on with the trees.
A lot of trees in the road, though. Commissioner Hawkins, what's happening in Precinct 3 this morning?
That same thing, we called the sheriff's office last night, straight across the road. So, other than that, we can cut and brush, shredding, and text us back up in 171. He's catching in us today. Will be probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So,
Free materials.
free material.
No doubt. Commissioner Lake, what's happening in Precinct 4 this morning?
We're putting out signs, which is we've not had since the sheriff's person is either had surgery or fixing to have surgery. So she had, I think, 6 weeks in the signs. And so I'm pretty about putting this.
And it's not just your precincts. If you see a Precinct 4 truck down at Precinct 2, know that we're just helping out another department do the job.
So all over the county.
Well, you took me out the other day over to Irene, and you've done some amazing work over there. You moved quite a bit of dirt and cleared some long-time problems. I'm sure those people appreciative, and I know we're appreciative of it. So, Tom, what's going on in the world of emergency management this morning?
Good. Amongst all the projects we're working on, we'll make it headway on some of them. Waiting on the FCC give us our license for our radio system, and then we'll have that moving forward again. It's dry. We've been chasing a lot of fires yesterday. We actually had the Forest Service in here for the first time. So, I mean, we had a little spit of rain yesterday, but it's not going to change anything. It's just dry. It's dangerous. Just having to do what we have to do. Other than that, I think that's pretty much nailed it down.
Oh, thank you. Philip, what's going on in IT this morning?
Judge, we got all the IT moved out of the early building.
Good.
In preparation for that to change hands. We last week we had to move all of our network equipment, so we're covering some building to get it out of the way, so the folks that are coming in there to do their demo renovation and do their work. We also had a security vendor come out from here on last week. November facility over there to see if I can get some security cameras installed, so along the 9 fires.
Good. You guys get a lot going on. Appreciate all y'all do. Sheriff, what's going on in your part of the world?
We had a shooting a couple of weeks ago in Alabama.
Deal.
Investigators did a good job right now.
Now, your deputies found my home number about 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. She's real sweet. I appreciate that. All right, good deal. From my end of things, any other elected official, appointed official, got anything they want to share with us this morning? No, Craig, put you on the spot, nothing? I know better than David after all these years.
Yeah, I did have some first assessment hearing.
What'd you think? You can actually hear?
You can hear.
Yeah, pleasure. Good deal. All right, from this end, let's talk about a few different things. We started construction projects. You notice construction people are gone from the courthouse. We've got a blue tape walkthrough left to do, but I think we're about 99.9% of the way done at this time. On the AgriLife building, that project continues to move forward. They're hanging red iron this week and hopefully get that red iron up. And they expect on the 5th of July to start putting tin on that building and sheeting the outside of it. So that continues to move. This morning, they're doing some more demolition work on the parking lot and fencing over at the Covington Street Annex. We've been steadily moving folks and things out of the way. We moved Judge Crane back over here. So it's going to be a process, but when we get finished, it's going to be worth it. The Huron building, they're doing the last of the flooring starting this morning. The contractor's back. They've leveled that floor. I went out there, was it Friday or Monday? Friday. It looks good how they've leveled it. As you know, that floor had a hump in it, but those two slabs came together. They straightened all that out. They're going to start overlaying that floor today. So I think we're getting very close on that. Stop by too and saw what's going on in your barn. Your guys are doing an incredible job on that barn. I can't believe the quality of that finished work. It is great.
They are doing an amazing job. They've taken it upon themselves. They know our budget's limited, and they said, if you'll just get us the supplies, we'll do the work. They work nights, weekends, whenever, there's no electric, no water, no AC, obviously, no nothing. They gutted and rewired and plumbed.
It looks,
They use their own tools.
no offense to anybody else, you're going to have a nice barn. Yeah, nice job.
They have worked. Worked
Cool, good.
day and night. They go up there like a couple of weeks ago, it's 105 in the daytime. They said, we're not gonna come in until 8 o'clock tonight. When I got up at 4:30, went over, they were still falling up on time.
Wow, good guys.
They have saved us a ton of taxpayer money.
No doubt about it. All right, otherwise, it's budget season. You've not got a budget letter from me. I will correct that Friday of this week. We'll be sending it out. As you know, we're working with the new software Gravity, which is going to put some automation into our budgeting process after all these years. Anyway, they're just about complete. We've seen the final draft, well, a close to final draft of the current year's budget. And then we're going to turn that same format over into the next year's budget. So you'll be getting some information from us shortly. There's some training sessions coming up for a few folks to get them started into the new budget program. We'll ultimately spread that out to everybody, but we've got a beta test with a few folks. So things here are going to stay busy for the next couple of months, especially as it is going into budget time. I'll keep you aware, but don't plan anything for the first week of August. We'll probably have budget hearings as usual. So, Mr. Ken Goins, you came to see us this morning. How are things with ESD number 1?
Hot and dry. So we've got county roads that are cracking. We're in trouble.
My driveway to the house, from the house to the shop and back, I walk it each morning. It's 2.25 miles. And I've never seen gaps in those years as big as they are now.
You can stick your hand in it. They've done a water tap out there last week before last. It dug down 5 foot and it was all dry down there.
Wow.
So we are in desperate need of rain.
Yes, sir. To address a problem that's not on our agenda this morning, but just quickly, on the west side of the county up in Huron, obviously we have those water storage tanks and we are still intent on putting that water there. We found out just how difficult it is to find water for fire suppression in that part of the world. Our problem right now is we're actually waiting on polypipe. We can't get the pipe we need at the moment because of supply chain issues. So as soon as that comes in, we'll have about 40,000 gallons, 35 to 40,000 gallons of water standing there for fire suppression activities that should come up. All right, well, I'll move along from this then. There's plenty of that. The other thing you guys need to know is last Thursday, I declare a state of disaster exists in Hill County. We'll discuss it more on our agenda here in a little bit. Part of that, I went ahead and implemented a burn ban under 352 of the local government code, and I banned the sales and use of fireworks. That'll be part of our discussion this morning, so I'm going to call for open forum. If you're here to talk about the fireworks, hang tight. There's a part of our agenda to do that, and we'll talk about it. Otherwise, at this time, Ms. Paula, has anybody signed up for online open forum? No one has signed up for online. So is there anybody here this morning that'd like to address the court about something that's not on our agenda? If you would, please limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes in duration. And as we respect you, please show respect to the court. Going once? Yes, sir.
I won't speak about fireworks when we ready.
Yes, sir, but most definitely. We'll give you the opportunity when we get to it. All right, good deal. Anybody else? If not, we're going to move right along then. So our consent agenda this morning, you'll find an email from the treasurer's office, and we have action on minutes, action on invoices, action on payroll, and the monthly report on revenue and disbursement. It's either been included in your packet or you received it in email form. If there's discussion, let me know. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion, second. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving along to our court orders today. Number one is discuss and approve employee wage and status changes. Bear with me just a second. It's on payroll one. Everybody wants to get paid. So I don't see employee wage status changes. They were here, I thought. There, you're right in front of me. Thank you. I shuffle this thing when I'm going through it, and I don't always get the deck of cards back in the order I found it. All right, so we have Benny Mead that's leaving the sheriff's office. We have Jamie Miller in the Hill County CSCD. We have Christy Chapman, who is doing a one-year step raise. Congratulations. We have Ms. Pam Rose from the Sheriff's Department. Pam was joining us earlier. She's going to take a few less hours, spend some more time for herself. We've got Ms. Tiffany Davis, who's a step raise after 3 years experience with Waco PD. Appreciate bringing that along. And Brittany McRae, step raise after training and for 10 years of experience with Waco PD. And those are the status and wage changes for Hill County departments this date.
The ones that turned in, they're not ready.
No, sir, they're not in this pile. I've got this pile. That's what I've got.
I'm gonna turn it in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, let's talk about that afterwards. All right, anything further? If not, I'll call the question. Oh, is there a motion? That'd be probably more than that, wouldn't it?
I'll make a motion.
Yes, sir, okay. There's a motion and a second. All right, motion and a second. Is there any questions, discussions on any of these? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it and the noes know it. Number two is discussion and approve bonds. This morning's bonds, we have a bond from Mr. Philip Cantrell, our IT director. We next have a bond from Mrs. Christy Goodspeed over at Hill County JP's office. And those are the two bonds that I have this morning.
Make a motion to approve bonds.
Motion and second to approve the aforementioned bonds. Are there any questions about that? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Number three, discussion action on auditor's report from Mr. Wayne Byer and Company. Mr. Byer, good to see you. How have you been, sir? Wonderful.
Where do you want me to stand? Or
Stand or sit? You want to pull that chair around? Crumpton's not using it. You might as well. Yeah, grab a seat. We'll walk through it.
Everybody has a copy of the report. If you would, let's turn to pages 1 and 2 of the report. Pages 1 and 2 is our opinion letter. The primary purpose of performing an audit is expressing an opinion on the financial statements. Incidentally, they changed this format, so this is the last time you'll see this format.
Okay.
On page 1, if you look where it says auditor's responsibility, the second sentence there says, we conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and the standards applicable to financial audits contained in government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. So we had 2 different sets of standards, or if you will, rules that we had to follow when performing an audit. This first set of rules or standards is just just the rules that every auditing firm in the United States would use in performing an audit, just a regular, good old fashioned audit. That second set is the government auditing standards. Those are rules that were set forth by the US government. And those rules apply, in this case anyhow, is because you have a single audit. So basically, we have two audits in one. The single audit was triggered, if you will, because your total federal grant expenditures last year exceeded $750,000.
Just by a little bit, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And so we're saying that we did follow these two sets of rules. And this is an unmodified opinion, which means that nothing came to our attention that would cause us to qualify the opinion in any manner, and also that we were provided or given all the information we asked to examine. There's basically four types of opinions that can be given, and an unmodified opinion is the highest form of opinion that can be given. Next, if you would, let's just flip over here to page 15 of the report. On page 15 of the report is the bird's eye view of what transpired last year in the whole county. This is a consolidated income statement. And that first column is your general fund. There, that first column, general fund. If you go down to the bottom of that first column, 3 lines from the bottom where it says net changes and fund balances, you will see that the $779,000 there, that's the amount by which the surplus or the increase over the year in the general fund. In other words, your income exceeded your expenditures by that amount. That includes expenditures and transfers out and transfers in and all of that. So if you go down one line below that, your beginning reserve was $8,025,000. And your ending reserve, we add those two numbers together, was $8.8 million last year. And if you compare that with your expenditures up above there, about 5 or 6 lines up there, of $16,398,000, you have a little bit over 50% reserve, which means you have a little over 6 month reserve. And generally speaking, you want to keep at least a 3-month or 25% reserve. So you're well over that. The second column is your road and bridge fund. And again, if you look 3 lines from the bottom, you actually had a deficit for the year where your expenditures and transfers and such exceeded your income by $354,000. You began the year with $1.9 million. And at the end of the year, add those two together, end of the year, you have $1.5 million. And here, if you compare it to your expenditures, about 6 lines up, $7.8 million, you had about a 20% reserve. So that'd be a little bit under 3-month reserve there. That includes your road and bridge funds and also your lateral funds. I'll show you where those are in a second. So anyhow, those are basically your main funds. And that third column is your ARP grant fund. And it's a grant. At the end of the year, you still have $3.29 million. Yeah. Okay. Going over to page 38 of the report, if you would. At the very top is the debt of the county. The interesting thing about your debt is you don't have much debt at all for a county this size. I mean, there's cities like 1/10 the size of this county that have more debt than us.
I have some very financially conservative commissioners.
Yes, I was gonna say that's why you have good reserves also,
It
good
helps.
budgeting. So if you look at that first column, the beginning of your debt was $9.3 million, and it includes all sorts of things that you would consider debt and things that you would not consider debt. And if you go over to the 6th column where it says ending balance, your end of the year balance is $9.5 million. And let me just explain to you the different kinds of debts you have. You have your certificates of obligation. At the very first line is $2,075,000. If you look back on page 37, you see the payout on those. They paid off in 2025. Yeah, bond premiums. Yeah, you know, those bond premiums, what those are is we sell bonds. Sometimes you get more money than the actual par value of the bonds, and those are bond premiums. And we have to amortize those over the life of the bond. So that's why you still have a little bit left. So you still have 4 years of amortization in that $1,027. Going below that, you have capital leases. I forget how many capital leases you have, about 15, a lot. And I imagine you're gonna have a lot more. You have those operating leases. Next year, you're gonna have to capitalize your operating leases. Yeah, for another GASB statement. So
Appreciate you letting us know that.
you have your capital leases and also your operating leases in the schedule next year. You have compensated absences. That's your vacation accrued, but on taking vacation pay, you have $739,000 there. And then the next line is your OPEB, net OPEB liability. And what that is that's basically benefits for people who have retired from the county. That was put into effect about 6 or 7 years ago. And this is calculated by an actuary. And at the end of the year, you have $739,000 estimation of benefits to be paid to your retired people. They just calculate the benefits and then they discount that amount to the current date. That's what that is. Then you have net pension liability. That's your TDCRS fund. That's your pension plan for your employees. At the end of the year, you had $2,045,000. If you looked there, you started the year out, you had $931,000, and it went up to $2,045,000. And I'm sure you're wondering how that happened.
Very much so.
Which I'm going to explain to you here in a second.
Okay.
You look on, first of all, let's just go to the top of page 47. These amounts are always calculated on a calendar year basis, but at the last calculations that we had, at the top of 47 in that right-hand column, the way they calculate these amounts is first of all, the first line is total pension liability. That's the total amount that's paid due from your TDCRS plan as of that date.
Okay.
That second line, they call it fiduciary net position. That's a fancy word for cash and cash equivalents, investments, things of that nature. It's $30,349,000. So that's how you come up with the $2,045,000. And then you see that percentage underneath there, you were 93.68% funded as of that date. I would say, we go around the state, I would say your average percentage funded is about 85%. You can see last year, look at that left-hand column, last year, you're 96.69% funded, so it went down a little bit. And then, go to page 53. On page 53, those same lines we just looked at, these are how they were calculated throughout the year. First of all, I want to show you, if you look in that second column toward the bottom where it says net investment income, you see that?
Yes, sir. $2,813,000.
$2.8 million. So that's the income you earned off from investments. If you go back to the first column, you have two things there. The first thing is you go up where it says interest on total pension liability toward the top there. It's $2.3 million. So last year they used a 7.6% interest, which is, take it for what it's worth. Anyhow, they calculated interest on your liability, $2.3 million. So that kind of took a little bit out of it. And then if you go down there a little bit lower there, well, I was going to say your benefit payments was $1.3 million. So, but it came out of both, I guess. So I guess it'd be zero out, I guess. Oh yeah, the other one here, where it says effective assumption changes or inputs. They just couldn't do this simply. They have to have all these different other parameters included into your calculation. Well, they added $1.857 million based on assumptions effective assumption changes inputs. So please don't ask me what that means.
Okay, good, because I'm confused.
Well, I mean, this chart came directly from the TDCRS.
Yeah, okay. I don't have a future working for them, apparently.
I'm sorry,
I don't have a future working for them,
No.
apparently.
neither do I.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was just that 1.8 million. That's what we're trying to figure out, is where that 1.857. came
Well,
from.
that's another part, that actuaries calculate all this, and that's one of
Okay.
their, that's always kind of been a standard. It's kind of pretty high, but you'd have to call them and ask them what that means. I honestly don't know.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just the messenger. Okay, couple other things. If you go back to page number 100 in the report.
Yes, sir.
You know, I was gonna tell you, also on that schedule, you had like $2.8 million of investment earnings. A couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, that I think they actually lost money.
Night charges.
Okay, on page 100 is a compilation of the your road and bridge funds. And you can kind of look at your own precinct and see how how it came out. And if you add all these bottom lines up, you come back to that $1.5 million. Some basically, well, some earned, some went down. And then you have your lateral road funds also. And then a couple more things. On page number, just want to show this to you. Find it. On page 109 of the report, yeah, page 109 of the report. Starting on page 106 and going to page 110 is a kind of a compilation of the rest of the funds in the county. On page 109, I just want to kind of point this one I just want to point out is that first column is your indigent healthcare fund. And you can see, if you look about 5 lines from the bottom, you actually had a gain for the year in that fund of $693,000. In other words, actually the benefits or the payouts was $523,000, which is less than half of what the money you brought in that fund. You got
Correct.
sales taxes coming in there.
Yeah, we're required to,
Such.
we're
Yes.
required to allocate 8% of the general fund to indigent health every year.
Okay. And then there's a transfer out of $868,000. So for the year, it went down by $174,558. You had a beginning reserve of $643,568. So I gave you your ending reserve of $469. Usually it's the other way around. Transfers are usually going into the fund. So.
Knock on wood, we've been lucky the last couple of years.
Okay, and then if you go to page number 111 of the report.
Single audit.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
On page 111, if you look in that last column at the bottom, your total federal expenditures was $2.308 million. Hence the single audit. The big grant, not only this county, every place we go is Homeland Security. And there's probably 3 or 4 different kinds of grants they have and huge amounts. So this is going to be going on for a while, all different kinds of grants. But anyhow, the main one is the 97.036 CFDA number. They call it assistant listing number now. $1.8 million. And that was the amount that put you over the $750,000. So we did an audit of the grants. We did an audit of the regular financial statements, and we did one of the grants. So that's about all I have. I want to say that in our experience, and I know that I speak on behalf of my firm, that we enjoy. The people here are extremely friendly, very helpful, and are helpful in every way possible. I also want to say that I think your county auditor, in all of my experience doing audits, which I've been doing this for like 45 years, I think your county auditor is the best county auditor I've ever experienced.
When she leaves, we're in trouble.
She is excellent.
I agree with you on that statement.
That's all I have.
All right, gentlemen, questions for Mr. Byer? Any elected officials, questions for Mr. Byer? Wayne, as always, I appreciate you. It's a very thorough audit. It's one of the most thorough. Wayne was the first one that ever asked to see a concrete bridge. We had an expenditure for a concrete bridge, and he actually sent somebody out there to look at the bridge and touch it. So again, thank you very much to the employees, to the elected officials of Hill County. Congratulations on another wonderful fiscal year, great audit. So at this time, I'll ask, is there a motion to observe and record? I have a motion, a second, to observe and record the fiscal audit for Hill County for year ending September 30, 2021. Is there any further questions? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank you
so
very
much. Appreciate it, Mr. Clark. All right, moving right along then. We have number 4, presentation by Mr. Todd Kiesel from the Texas Association of Counties regarding safety equipment program. Mr. Kiesel, come on up. You grab a seat. Like I said, Crumpin didn't bother to show up. You're welcome to sit in his chair. Can't vote for him, but you're welcome to sit there.
Thank you for having me.
All right, what do we got?
Morning, everybody. My name is Todd Kiesel. I'm with Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool. As all of y'all are aware, we provide all of your property and casualty coverage, which includes workers' compensation, auto liability, auto physical damage, general liability, public officials liability, cyber coverage, law enforcement liability, and property coverage. And today on the agenda, it states that, I'm here to present the safety equipment program that we have every single year. And I'd like to present that. And also I'd like to open the floor, see if y'all have any questions. Kind of want to jump into, what Hill County and all the elected and appointed officials and department heads and employees are doing to really put you in a better risk management and a safety position. So let me get started with the safety equipment program. This is something we've been doing for the last 5 years. And our safety equipment program is something that our board of directors approves each year. And Hill County has $2,101.89 that is allocated based upon what is reported for road and bridge and building and maintenance. And you also have that same amount to use for law enforcement. Okay. And basically what we do is we set up an account with Pool Chase. Those funds are sitting in there, and it allows y'all to go in there and order the safety equipment that you choose to order. Now, I understand that I understand that law enforcement's looking into it. I spoke with Chief Robinson yesterday, and road and bridge, those items have been ordered. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions on the safety equipment program? What do y'all think? I'm looking for your feedback on this.
We'd like lower premiums.
Okay.
Outside of that, since we're asking on that, no, I think it's a great idea because, it brings to mind the number one problem we have, and that's cognizant of what's going on around us. I think we often get caught up in our duties, and sometimes we fail to fully realize what's happening around us, and we're just not as safe as we could be. I think this safety equipment program, and to let people at home know what we're talking about here. The safety equipment program, we've received things like fire extinguishers, traffic cones, safety vests, lots and lots of safety vests and hard hats, gloves, first aid kits this year, I believe. That's correct, first aid kits.
Eye protection.
Eye protection, yeah, ear protection as well.
Yes.
So these are the kind of things that we receive through that program as part of an incentive when we do well on our insurance plans.
Right. And, you bring up a good point. You wish to have lower coverage contributions. Boy, I tell you, that's a tough one because just the way the property market is going, we've had discussions about that in the past. Talking specifically on property coverage, there's tons of market stressors on there. And when you get into auto liability, physical damage, general liability, law enforcement, all the other lines of coverage, they're relatively flat, but everybody's growing. Okay. When you have more payroll, when you have more autos, you're looking at increased exposures. And so same store comparison, typically it costs more.
Oh, yeah.
Now where risk management and safety comes into play, if you think about it, if you can avoid an auto accident, productivity, that's one less thing that everybody needs to deal with. Also, you're avoiding the use of your deductibles, okay? And then you're avoiding the use of, or the possible experience causing your cost of coverage to increase down the road. And this is kind of, it's a good segue, because I'd like to talk about what y'all are doing in 2022. Had some meetings with the judge earlier this year, and our risk control consultant, his name is Isaac Garcia. Yes, wonderful man. He has met with the judge, and y'all are looking at your accident prevention plan, okay? In addition to that, our law enforcement consultant, his name is Kenny Lemons Jr., and he's met with the sheriff's department. I was there for some training that day. We went through the losses with the chief and with the sheriff as well. He provided what's called below 100 training, okay? And what that does is that addresses situations where deputies can be involved in fatal situations. And 2 hours of that training is specific to auto and what to avoid for auto accidents and those kinds of things. Additionally, Michelle Arsenal is our human resources supervisor, but she's your human resources consultant as well. She has some harassment prevention training that's coming up in August, okay? So I encourage you, when you hear of these trainings, to send your staff there when you can, because to your point, it's about awareness. It's about talking about it, getting in front of it to hopefully avoid an accident. Some other information I have here, I provided you with our pool brochure. Within this brochure, it talks about who all of us are. And in the center, it talks about, it addresses, sorry, it's not in the center, it got moved on me. We have our list of training classes, okay? So at your leisure, go ahead and look through there. As you're thinking about what your staff might want, you can address it there. Now, specifically for Road and Bridge and for commissioners, we have something called Toolbox Talks.
You've told me about this.
In speaking with Isaac Garcia, Isaac mentioned that some commissioners in the past have used Toolbox Talks with their staff. And so coming here today, I went to our office and I pulled from our shelf the actual book on Toolbox Talks. Okay, what it does, it gives you ideas of, another thing. This is called Toolbox Talks, but it's also called Tailgate Talks. Okay, so when you're getting your staff together in the morning, it gives you ideas of some content to talk about in an informal session. Because if you think about it, when people come together, we want to train them on working safely. We want to encourage them and get them together, a little team build before they go off about their day. And hopefully they're following these safety practices and those kinds of things. So I wanted to drop this physical document off to you guys and ladies. And also, there's some information on our regional workshops that are coming up. Texas Association of Counties, we provide all of your coverage, but we also provide training and information to help you avoid the use of your coverage. So we've got some human resources regionals coming up. We have a risk control regional that's coming up. The risk control regional is really more aimed towards maintenance. So if you can take a look at this, they're throughout the state. If you can maybe allow them to come, that'd be up to y'all. Then we got some law enforcement regionals as well.
Okay.
And additionally, every year we have our county management risk conference. Next year it's in the end of March and it's down in Round Rock. We're also having a cyber workshop, and that's in April. It's a 3-day event. It's our first year that our CIRA part of Texas Association of Counties will be doing that. So just a heads up on that, Philip. Any questions? Because we very much appreciate the opportunity to provide all of your coverage, and y'all are wonderful to work with. Use us, talk to us. Any questions?
Not so much question, but statement. There's just such a wealth of training opportunities there for us to take advantage of. It's not just safety, it's obviously safety focused, but the number of topics that they cover, everything from threats that we face online, which hundreds of thousands of attempts a day, to operating motor graders, to simple safe operation of vehicles, to how we maintain our buildings to make sure we keep those safe for public. I think that any elected official that avails themselves of this training is not wasting their time, and I would encourage you all to do so.
And another thing that we're due is, we keep in touch with y'all's changes that are occurring within the county. I hear there's talk of the auditor retiring and the same thing.
We're trying to talk about it.
I
but
know,
we're not-
I know you are, okay. But I think if you get in front of something and address it, maybe it won't happen, so,
Maybe.
right? So I stay attuned to that, and, I'll echo what the previous presenter mentioned about how y'all are great to work with. Very friendly, very open, very receiving of information that we provide. I pick up the phone, I call. I called you recently on your cell phone. I was working that day, it was a holiday, and you took my call first thing in the morning.
No such thing as a holiday in this job.
That's true, that's true. But thank you very much. Appreciate you having me here today, and stay safe.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate the presentation. I really look forward to going through this toolbox talks. We've talked about it. I've never seen the book. I'm impressed. Not only does it have a topic, it also has a log next to it so that you can, right there on the spot, log out who was present, what we talked about. And I really love that idea. So good thing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Any questions from Mr. Kiesel?
Still wonder about the value of our buildings.
Yeah, so that's a different arm of what they do. So value of our buildings. A couple years ago, we had a reappraisal done of county buildings.
Yes, sir.
And I've told you this before, and it goes up a chain a bit too. We believe that the courthouse is well undervalued
Okay.
for what it is. And I've had these conversations in the past. I think we're trying to work towards getting a new valuation of the building.
Okay,
I have concerns, and of course, that makes my premiums go up when the value goes up. But at the same time, I have concerns that that last third party that came through for y'all did undervalue this building considerably.
okay. So great questions. And of course, if your historical replacement cost goes up, you're getting more of the same thing. So it typically costs you more. Now, what I'd like to do, and you and I chatted about this last fall, we can get together and take a look at that value. Okay. Now, I don't have those numbers in front of me. I can take time and look at it, but might be served for a better time. Know that our property coverage, you have a total blanket limit. Okay. So let's say that this courthouse is, and I'm going to throw this out because I don't know the number, but let's say the courthouse has historical replacement costs of $20 million. Okay. And you have a total blanket amount of $100 million within Hill County. If the courthouse would go down the way it did in 1992, you have that total blanket limit to use.
So it actually covers all the way to the 100 million mark.
Yes, sir, it does. Okay. Now,
That makes sense.
That's how you guys explained it to us last year.
yes, and now that both of those numbers are important, but that $20 million number is important so that the aggregate $100 million number is valid. Okay, so we can take a look at that. I've been doing property coverage since 1999. I love property coverage. I understand it very well. I understand how y'all are covered. I'm comfortable with how you are. At the same time, let's take a look at those numbers to make sure that we're all comfortable. Okay. And I can schedule a time to get together. I can wait till after court and visit with you on this. But that's a great question because your coverage is only as good as what you have. Okay. And one thing that we look at is what do you need? And we provide that appraisal. All we do is counties. So we are designed specifically for you. And I'm comfortable with the number, but let's get our heads together and make sure that we're all comfortable with that number.
And those will be conversations we'll be having. We're about to make some divestments of certain properties, improvements to other properties. So those are conversations we need to have going through this year. So
Okay.
wonderful.
Great question.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate you bringing that up. Anybody else? Any other elected official, appointed official, a question for Mr. Keeson? If not, thank you for a wonderful presentation. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right. Number 5, serve and record Hill County CPS services report for this month. Oh, okay. I didn't see it when I went through here. I guess I don't have. Okay, I don't know what I did with that. All right, so this month, the wonderful folks at the Hill County Child Welfare Board, better known as the Child Protective Services Board for Hill County. No change to the April balance from April to May, so we're still at $9,803.97. I believe that upper line's a typo though. And for this year, for this month of May, they had public donations in the amount of $11.41. That's a little bit down for them. They do pretty good. Operations overall, no real change in net income, negative 20, or a loss of $29.83 on the month. I think this is the smallest amount they've had movement in some time. So we appreciate the folks of the Child Welfare Board and all they do for the children of Hill County. Appreciate seeing that. No, I didn't. All right, is there a motion to observe and record the Hill County CPS Board Treasurer's Report? Motion and a second. Any further discussion on the topic? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 6 on our agenda this morning is discuss and approve Joseph, forgive me if I mess up this last name, Domu donation for $5,625 for Hill County Road 4109 road construction. What you get?
Correct. We're supposed to, they give me 30,000 as a total from them, so I'm not sure who got those to set right now. I asked them to find out.
Okay, gotcha. This is
So I
what,
don't know if Susan has any other money that's coming in. It's supposed to be a total of 30,000 all total.
nothing else showed up yet according to Julie. So, okay. What are you guys gonna do on the road?
We're gonna do that with the phone.
Oh, okay, so one of the old field roads.
We're
Okay,
gonna have to. Put them on field.
yes, sir. All right, wonderful.
We redid all the dirt,
Looks good.
get the shoes last year.
Good deal. All right.
I'm moving to set.
I have a motion accepted to accept the donation, the amount of $5,625 from Joseph on the move for Hill County Road 4109 construction. Any further discussion on this?
Is he the developer out there or just?
No, we just one of the residents. There was a couple of, you know,
Gotcha. Okay, well, good. All right, anything further? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed, motion carries. Number 7, discuss and approve requesting for proposals for group medical, dental, vision, and base life ADD. There's no presentation today. We're going into our budget year, and I would request that we go out and request bids on the above, basically our health insurance. I think that we have a duty each year to see if we can't do better than we did the previous year, both in premiums and quality of the healthcare that we offer our employees and savings that we can offer the taxpayer in Hill County. So it's my request to you that we approve requesting proposals for group medical, dental, vision, base life, and accidental disability discriminant insurance. I guess that's my motion. So we have a motion in a second. Wonderful. All right. Any further discussion? We'll keep you guys informed as this moves along and let you know. We're still going to utilize oh my goodness, I've drawn a blank on that fellow's name. Enco Insurance. Yeah, we're still the broker. Anderson, Daniel Anderson's his name. That's our game plan is to still utilize him as a broker. He's had a lot more success than we've ever had. So, all right, that's the motion in a second. I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, number 8, discuss interaction on burn ban and declaration of disaster. No secret, we've well publicized it last Friday. I was hoping we'd get away without declaring a burn ban until today, but it's just not a possibility. We have had numerous amounts of fires. I think we have a representative from ESD, we have representatives from our fire departments here today. I'd like to hear from those. We also have representatives from the fireworks industry here today because part of my burn ban, it banned the sales and use of fireworks in Hill County. We've had numerous fires that we can attribute back to it, to the use of fireworks. That being said, we understand that people have money laid out and there's livelihoods at line here. So I'd like to have a discussion. My disaster declaration, I'm asking the commissioners to pick up and to continue. As of this morning, we still weren't at 575 on the Peach Fire drought. Well, I say that, I haven't seen the update since 9 o'clock. I don't think we're going to make it though. Not with that rain we got yesterday in South Florida County. So what we've got is a situation where under 352 of the local government code, usually you have to have the Forest Service say, hey, that there's a drought conditions exist. And they base that off a predicate number of 575 on this Keach Fire and Drought Index. Last Friday, we were at 490 something, and we haven't gotten any lower. So in order to enact a burn ban, which I think is necessary to do, and obviously I did so, is that you've got about 3/4 of this county as a tinderbox, and 1/4 of it looks like the Garden of Eden. I don't know what you guys are doing in Files Valley, but it's lush and green up there. Otherwise, that's what's holding the average up. The fires continue to be a taxing on the resources that we have available to our fire departments. So while not something I've taken lightly, and it is an extreme remedy that we've imposed, at this time, we're going to open the floor to people to speak either for or against or a middle way. So if you would, limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes in duration. As we respect each and every of you, please respect the court. So we'll open the floor to anybody who'd like to talk about it this time. Yeah, if you identify yourself for the record, sir.
Judge Lewis, my name is Dan Gerald, I'm on top fireworks, I know we have a bunch of representatives. They brought a box into your office as we discussed. like-
Yeah, is it in there?
Yeah,
Can we get that box?
if I could come forward.
Yeah, by all means, please do, please come on. He's gonna kind of give it, what I asked, I had a lot of people call me out.
Most of the commissioners here know me, we get to work together out in that
Yeah.
field, so.
So here's what we've got right now is the conversation about what fireworks are. And, you know, my understanding of fireworks is 1980-ish.
You
So,
can't have it, they're not for sale.
Yeah,
They
no,
can't sell them right now.
and they didn't give me any hassle with security?
No, he actually came outside and let me, carrying a big box does not get you in the courthouse.
No, it does not. But go ahead, Mr.
Anyway, me and Judge Lewis had a discussion last Friday when this took place because I was notified by having to call Judge Lewis, but fireworks over the years have changed drastically. They are not, we get a bad name, first of all, by the word firework. But the changes that they've made over the years and the adjustments in the law, I think was trying to mitigate when we have conditions like this, Judge and Commissioners, and it worked. And I understand this year's a little drier than others, but out of the band itself, items like this were put in there under the band. The rockets, the sticks, stuff we have no control over. You have no, once you light it, it's going God crazy and it's coming back to earth. There's no stopping. Possibility of fire is great with these. What I propose, Judge, maybe mitigate some of what the disaster order did and shut us down completely. Instead, let's talk about what fireworks do and go from there. He's right here. And I think I'm backed by some of the biggest firework retailers in the state of Texas and the country here today. I wouldn't sell these. These are not classified under the burn ban.
What do you call those exactly? Forgive me, I'm asking terminology for my unfamiliarity.
These are more of a satellite. I've got a smaller pack in here. They emit sparks, they emit showers, they emit fire when they take off. Now, don't sit here and
Yeah, yeah.
sugarcoat it. And they come back. And they're also paper. They can come back with a fire on. I wouldn't sell it. I'd give them up in the heartbeat, which I did. I didn't even stock them in the stands this year because y'all were under the burn ban when we opened. Myself personally, I didn't stock anything.
Okay.
Then you have your little twisters that they're just colorful, but they do jump up in there about 10 or 15 feet and they are shower sparks and everything.
But do they come back down?
They come back down.
I mean, close vicinity, like I know that bottle rocket.
They may come 20, 30 feet away from
Okay, so
you,
not-
which
Yeah.
I really wouldn't, because everything you're seeing here today has to be lit on a hard surface. It's on every package of fireworks you see.
Okay.
The warnings on fireworks you see, everything is on this warning. These, I'd give up myself. I don't have a problem with something that's going up, is my point, and coming back that we cannot control,
Okay.
or the individual lighting the fireworks can't control. So actually, we're adding a lot of stuff to the list of fireworks we wouldn't sell in this county if this was allowed. Everything I'm pulling out now is
Okay.
stuff that I think we should give up and get rid of this year.
Okay.
Not put,
What's that gonna leave you with?
now we get into what we can sell
Okay.
that's safe. And I say the word safe because over the years, fireworks have changed in such a sense, used to be a big wad of paper go up there and blow up and you see these little streamers coming down and they had a spark on it. It doesn't exist anymore. Individual fireworks like this package fireworks, this is a 200 gram cake. I think it's got 10, 15, 20 shots in this, 12 shots in this one.
Somebody have something to say? Yeah, okay. We'll give you the opportunity.
I had to look on it because it was new to me this year.
Okay.
When it goes up, it bursts into colors. You may see red, blue, green, stars, stripes. It does something. It puts on show.
Okay.
Once it's out up there, there's nothing coming back. Nothing.
So there's no chance of anything out of that?
There's
falling
nothing
back?
coming back there. It's just paper. It doesn't catch on fire when it ignites. This does not burn.
Okay.
You may see a little bit, but it's out and it's on the ground.
And the terminology to refer to that is a cake?
This is a cake.
Okay.
This is a cake. And I've got a larger version of it, but that's what this does. And when you see it go off and my point being is somebody may attend the fireworks show this season, so they're not banned.
Mhm.
They're gonna be lighting the same thing in these shows.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Which once they're up, they have no trouble, but they don't come back. When the sparkle's gone, it's gone. And a lot of it's not fire, it's more of a chemical reaction causing colors and everything, just so you know. Same thing, this is a little smaller 200 gram shell, does the same thing, basically just less shots.
Okay.
As far as misfires, yes, they can misfire, won't say, but they don't go up in misfire, they misfire in the tube. And that's usually because there's no road acting. You'll hear the explosion, but you won't see anything go up, but it doesn't blow up.
Okay.
This is a bigger version. This is what we call a 500 gram cake. This is more what you're gonna see at the shows, probably bigger than this and with more of an explosion because they do have a license. Very bigger fireworks. It does the same thing. Once it's up, once it ignites, once the colors go off, it's over. That's it. So on the side of every package is a warning. Every little firework has it. This tells you where to place it on the ground. I have 30 acres of pasture in back of my house that my cows run on. It's dry. I'm having to feed. I would not hesitate to go and sit in my driveway, this shell, light it, and let it go off and watch it. And that's me, as an individual person, not somebody selling, because I know what these do. I would not think there was gonna be a major fire if I lit this off at my driveway. Because most of them, they're straight up. They're not out all over the place. They're straight up, or they may go out at an angle, but they explode and they're out. That's it. We're gonna get into a fountain. I brought one because naturally I'm gonna bring a whole card up here and it really put me in jail. These are fountains. They emit showers of sparks. They sit on the ground. They don't leave. You can light it, stand back right here, and it's gonna shower sparks. I could hold my hand over it right here, and the sparks are gonna bounce off of it. It's not an intense heat fire. And that's my point. I think we could come to a compromise this season to help the people out, get rid of the stuff we know we have no control over that's coming back, but let us sell the stuff that at least they can pay their firework bills, pay their health. That's what we're asking for.
Can you give me a little testimony on this? What are you guys laying out? And your typical stand operator, they got to put out a good bit of money. I understand it's a business. So what do they got laid out? I mean, what financially do they have on the line? A typical stand?
A typical stand,
Yes, sir.
$15,000-$25,000,
Oh,
depending on the operator.
and that's the
But
amount.
that's just in the fireworks. You're not dealing with what you gotta pay your help, what your gas, everything. I mean, I waited till the last second this year because I was watching Hill County. I know we went through Memorial Day, but I was watching it. The burn ban was on, so I said, okay, automatically. I didn't buy this stuff. This stuff's on it I had in stock already, but the rockets and stuff, I didn't buy it. Didn't put them in the stand, wasn't going to. Excuse me.
Aerial.
Mortars are the same thing. They're a single tube shot. These are just mortars in there. Same thing.
Okay.
These are just baby mortars. You just don't have to reload them.
But once they go up, they don't come back.
They don't come back down. Mortars are, in the day they were papered and not anymore. They go up, they explode. You see the colors. That's it. That's all you're going to see coming back down. I've got one more firework. They don't really call it a firework anymore. And a lot of people have it, and I do, but it's a bad habit, but one of the worst fire sticks for fires in a drought is that one right there.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Is that one right there. Because I've been around fireworks for 63 years. I've been through several droughts in those 63 years. I bought this business from my dad. In those 63 years, do not remember, and I'm not saying it hasn't, I do not remember a firework fire when we ever lit off a firework. It's common sense when you're doing this stuff. If you follow the directions, set them on solid surface, they go up and they do their stuff.
Unfortunately,
I've
common
got-
sense is not a flower that grows in every man's garden. So
Neither when they throw these out the window.
no doubt.
We can't control everybody,
No doubt.
but the people that are family oriented, that are doing this and having, we can't sell the kids first of all. But people are family oriented, they're doing it the proper way. They know what time of year it is. We've had it before. They ask, hey, we tell them, my operator's training, have a jug of water, have something handy to help you if something does happen. To put a stop, but if he's going up, they're not going to control it. I had one more thing I was going to say to you, Judge and Commissioners.
How many fireworks stands do we have?
That number I'm unsure of. I have 3 in your county that I know of.
Okay, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
And
11.
that, you're saying 11, some of these probably have 2 or 3 others
Yeah.
without the county, so.
So how do
Three.
we,
Four, four.
how can we be assured that all the people involved will not sell these?
I can just about assure you that with the owner of American Fireworks, he's one of the biggest owner of fireworks stands in the state of Texas. I don't know, it's Chester Davis that, like me, I'm gonna ask all of you, would you agree with this?
Yes.
I mean, and it's easy to check. Well, I have no problem with sheriff's office, anybody come by and check it, understands. If you do it, shut it down.
I want to say what his hands on right there.
Yes, sir.
There will be something coming to the ground. It'll be a brown piece of cardboard. You could walk over with it. There's no charge to it. There's no anything. It's just.
It's like a shotgun shot.
It's
That's what that is. The fire part never come back. That shotgun shot, just like firing a shotgun, that's what you get back.
I have said for years, I don't want to say it from a lot of people.
Yeah.
You could light that, but the hayfield, it would burn up.
Mhm.
I said,
That's why I'm saying I'd light at my house.
What's the reason we asked you guys to come today? You're telling me stuff. that
The one thing I do want to point out to the commissioners that some of the surrounding counties are doing the same thing, which I know. Some of your other northern counties have not. But you're gonna run a risk in them is they're gonna be going up there and buying this stuff.
They are. We know that we
And-
can't control stuff out
And
of
I
county.
think
You're right.
if we could stay open, at least give them the option to buy it, they're gonna buy it. There's enough other stuff that smaller stuff for the kiddos and stuff that aren't dangerous and don't have those effects that we can sell and still come out ahead this season. And not ahead, break even. I mean,
Yeah.
we're giving up in sales quite a bit on the littler stuff like that. This is what you'd call your little money makers.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So the band powder, we're talking about bottle rockets, ground blooms, I think it's
If
fins and sticks, missiles, spins. Okay.
missiles, spin, sticks, spinners, I would put anything under there that has an ejection go up and out of control, come back to earth. And I'm good with it all. I mean, I pull it off the shelves today.
Our next big concern is not just the material itself, but, we're 17 fire departments. They're all got volunteer components on it. So during the week, our people just aren't around. They're at work. They're working for a living. Oh, we got a few folks that are that ability to, some of our fire departments. Our concern is really biggest during the weeks. We have problems. Kids are out of school. They do dumb things. The parents are out, they just,
And we're saying during the week.
yeah.
So let's keep them closed till the weekend and give us our 4-day season.
So you're thinking Friday, Saturday,
Friday,
Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday,
Monday.
Monday, we're closing down anyway.
Here's the thing with that though, we
Yeah.
have other counties where it's still selling fireworks.
Mhm.
People from Hill County, I know people who already have, is going to these other counties and buying them and bringing it back into Hill County.
We're hearing
So
that.
they're gonna shoot them regardless. The whole point is we're losing money because we can't sell because they're going to other stands. Normally they won't go to. That's all we're saying. Just let us make some of our profit back that we've already spent. I've got 18,000 in mine right now.
Go ahead, sir. If you could identify yourself for the record, please.
I don't know this gentleman. I know he said, I 100% agree with everything he says.
Yes, sir.
I'm Jimmy Prince,
Mr. Prince?
First County, Broward County. Basically 90% of our county is me.
Yes, sir.
I've got stands in Ellis County and one in Hubbard. And the stuff he's got laying over there, I don't have any of it on my shelf. The 350s and 500s and 200, we sell a lot of it. I've been doing this for 42 years. I don't know how far you go back. Did you ever know Jamie Bagley was going to be judge in Ross County?
No, it's before my time. That's before me.
The fireworks got kicked down to y'all in 96.
Yes, sir.
And in 98, he gave me a call on a Sunday evening, bring a display to the commissioner's court and explain to us what out of our safe area mean. And I did basically this same thing, maybe 6 items. I probably only had 125 or 30 items in the building. We now have
Oh, God.
300.
Yeah.
But right now, everybody has got this.
And there's a lot of safety features. In the old days, like on fireworks, you had to pull this fuse out and when you lit it, it would everywhere. They're mostly internal fuse now on here. There's not a big spark coming off it. It burns to the internal. You can actually just pull it back right here, light it, and it's done.
Okay.
There's not a big shower of sparks coming off of it anymore. They've changed drastically.
And it might just not, I go watch the professional displays. I have children, but typically watch professional displays. So when you made this offer on Friday, I'm happy to see what technology's done. So,
Yeah.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
And what you were saying on the business side of it, my stand in Hubbard, the lady that runs it, ran it for 27 years. She takes a vacation from our college
Uh-huh.
to run it. And our conversation when she got shut down the second day, her 3,500 still comes out of my pocket.
Mhm.
So there is an expense.
Correct, there is, and we know it, and that's the reason we're having these conversations. We understand that there's a burden on certain people in the county, and there's a burden on the county as a whole, and ours is how do we balance that burden?
Every fireworks vendor that's right now is on board with what he's saying. We do not want, if you have any sense as a business person, and we're business people, you don't want problems.
And we don't want to burn the county up. That's why I brought these in. There are safe fireworks out on the market. And they started doing this when all these changes came into play with bans and stuff. The fireworks started changing drastically.
Okay.
And it's a good thing. I don't get it. It is. And as for the fire departments, we're all for the volunteers. I have a fireworks stand sitting at the Glenda Volunteer Fire Department. It's been there for 15 years now. They love us. Do they like the fires? No, but I should have got the guy that changed chiefs this year. He was never fought a firework fire. As long as that stand has been there, he's never been called out on a firework fire. It's because the changes have been taking place. And when you notice these fires, you're gonna get fires. During this season, it's easy to blame them on the firework. Well, if we eliminate the blame, it's hard gonna be blowing fire on fireworks.
Thank you, Mr. Earl, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your time. I'll pick these up.
Yes, sir.
When I carried the display in 96, 98, that showed the county missiles and rockets with fins and rudders was the way it was listed.
Mhm.
And we had 2, 4, and 6-ounce rockets. A 6-ounce rockets with 5-mile-an-hour wind would land over yonder, and you could see it hit the ground.
Yeah.
That stuff's not around. Everything it's just a whole different thing now. It's way much safer than it was 20 years ago.
Anybody else want to speak on it? Yes, sir, go ahead. If you would, for the record, we know who you are, but
Hugh Corbett, Fire Chief, White Bluff. Sunday night, we had a call just across the street from 933, right across from White Bluff. 3 separate fires burning. We got over there. In fact, I have a picture with them. They started, and you can see a Crown Royal bottle next to the fireworks itself. Our problem is not with the fireworks stands. Our problem is with the people who use very little sense in setting these things off.
Yeah.
These folks weren't happy when they set the first fire off, which burned the trailer up. They continued to shoot fireworks until they had 3 separate fires going. After that, Sunday during the day, we were back over that same general area 2 more times on one major grass fire, 28, and another one on this rekindling, which is again fireworks. the grass is so dry right now that any spark that sets these things off could turn into a catastrophe for Hill County. And that is a big concern for White Bluff. I support the ban and hoping that you continue as it is. And I am sorry for the problem that it causes, but it is a problem that we simply cannot risk.
May I say something, Joe?
Yes, sir.
On the fireworks they were like, could you show us what kind of
I'll show you a picture.
water rounds?
Yeah.
I would not like no water rounds.
They were probably like it upside down.
Yeah.
They were going out.
And the bad part of that was that when it's sold, everybody in the county.
This wasn't the fireworks that did that, this was the food that he was talking about, that was drinking and doing stupid stuff. It's not a perfect world.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a job in this perfect world. I'd be gainfully unemployed.
I think the problem was it wasn't around itself, it's just they falling over. Like,
Whatever it was, it was very effective for fires.
oh, I'm not saying it's for fireworkers don't, I mean, but that's what we brought in, we want to show that
We do the best we can to make it safe we can.
And again, I, just,
Everybody did.
I totally agree with what y'all are saying. That you can take the same thing to the gun, is a gun something that's bad? Or is it the person behind it? Same thing with the fireworks.
Yeah.
You know, it's the people that are irresponsible, and the only way we have, and right, you were talking about counties to the north, I know for a fact, Johnson County in their court today is putting in a similar order. McLennan County, same thing, Bosque did it yesterday. So it's not just Hill County, I mean, this is a problem that we're trying to protect the citizens of the county. I mean, we lost 20 acres and a travel trailer over the weekend. And it's not y'all's fault. I mean, I'm not pointing a finger at y'all. It's the irresponsible people that go out there and do what they're doing that's causing the problems.
and that's what, some of what we're trying to mitigate here is by giving up stuff, the stuff irresponsible people are gonna go buy. And they're gonna get it in another county, because the barrel's not shut down, they're gonna get it, and that, if we can keep them entertained with what we're something, then we'll at least mitigate some factor to try to help.
I was in front of James H.M. Judge H.M. Davenport yesterday morning in Barrett County.
I know.
They issued a burn ban last week. They extended it yesterday and accepted the fact that we took this stuff off the shelf and left it just as a burn ban.
Jesse, you come a long way. Go ahead.
Judge, all over the state of Texas, I've been monitoring every county has issued a burn ban, and what we have done throughout the state of Texas really is we've voluntarily given up the sticks and fins from the very beginning. So it's really the law, the way it reads is the restricted fireworks are stick rockets and missiles with fins and rudders. Okay, so that's exactly how it reads. The next important thing is to limit the selling day. Look, we only get 11 days, but I'd rather sell 4 days and sell fireworks than I would. I mean, I've lived through 2006, 2011, and now we're sitting here looking at this one. I really believe, of course, it's my Baptist faith that makes me believe that we're gonna get more rain. I mean, I can see it coming in off the Gulf, and I think it's gonna happen. But the truth is, you can't.
Come sit right here, Nick.
It's gonna rain. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna rain in Austin, Texas. We get 3 inches of rain. I thought, oh my God, is it ever gonna stop? And I mean, I'm glad to get it because I have a ranch and I have animals and I've dug wells and everything else. But for me, when you deal with 254 counties, what I'm trying to find is a way to say that people are going to buy fireworks. They're either going to buy fireworks or they're going to buy sight, they're going to shoot shotguns, or they're going to shoot shells in the air. I've been through it all. But
I remember those warnings on TV in San Antonio growing up down there. Every year, their holidays had a warning not to shoot your gun.
Oh, that's right. And Barrett County is one of the driest in the state. In Victoria, was banned, first one to ban fireworks. Now they've rescinded it and fixed it so we can sell 4 days. And
Are they doing sticks and fin ban that for us?
yes, and most of the sticks and fin ban, really, honestly. Or the vendors like Mr. Prince, Mr. Irwin, who have voluntarily given up stick rockets and this. We knew months ago we were gonna be in this fight. So we said, out of 200 fireworks stands and warehouses and stores that I have all over Texas, they're not in there. They're not in there.
What about firecrackers?
Firecrackers, I mean, you know, Judge Blackburn asked me yesterday in Bell County, he said, well, what about the little boy that throws the firecracker over there? And the good news about that is if there's any good news at all, if you throw a firecracker out, you can't throw it that far. You go there and stomp it out. You shoot those stick rockets right there. I don't know which one of y'all are a lot faster than I am today. And you can't get to them fast. So,
Exactly right.
you know, getting rid of those things, I mean, it just has to be. But really what Danny's talking about the way these products are made, I've been in part of the I was president of American Pyrotechnics Association. I've been part of every building. I mean, we've gone through the testing of it and making sure they're tested before they come in. They are in fact designed to explode in the air 90 degrees. And if those rockets were shot right, and they would go 90 degrees, and some of them do, if you put them in the ground like they're supposed to be and read the instructions, they will go 90 degrees through the air, they blow up, and they'll burn out before they hit the ground. And that's the way they're designed. And really, I haven't been on one TV deal that I didn't say, bring some water. Either you bring a gallon can of water or you bring a gallon bag of water. I mean, quite frankly, I know it's hard when you hear the story about a guy catching fire. I guess that does happen. But I don't know, I mean, where I'm at is how many chains going down the highway, how many cigarettes burn the highway. I don't like none of it. I can't stand it. But the truth is, if we ban the sticks and fins, and we don't use those, we don't allow people to buy them, and we only go to 4 days, you limit the exposure of the fire department working night and day if there is a fire for whatever reason, whether it's fireworks related or a barbecue pit. I tell you stories of barbecue pits falling over, not fireworks that burn the biggest places in the county. But they're gonna celebrate. They're gonna celebrate the 4th of July, whether we provide them and try to do it in the right way, in an educational way, or not. And all I'm trying to say is, I mean, I don't want somebody driving all over buying a bunch of crap I can't control. Here I can control it here in, Hill County. We can make an effort to control it. And I don't think there's anybody selling fireworks right here that's gonna sit up here and lie all about what they did, will or will do. I can assure you we're not. And so the and the other thing is, I don't know about Mr. Prince, Mr. Irwin, I don't know if they own their property. The places where my stands are, I own them from. So it's a little more of a financial burden. But what we want to be is good stewards of the county. We didn't drive up here to lie to you and tell you something that's not true. What I'm telling you is true in all the areas that I've worked on, which is, I'm gonna say 30% of the state, 254 counties. I can't get to them all, but I try my best to call all the county judges. And we've committed to 4 days, no sticks and fins. And then, but I really believe, I wouldn't go out and buy a whole bunch more cows this week, but I can tell you it's gonna rain. I mean, we're gonna get more rain. And I'm laughing about it on the way up here. If you laugh about anything, we'll probably get so dang much rain, we can't shoot fireworks. So I'm just telling you, it's happened to me. Ban fireworks, and we get 10 inches of rain in the middle of Texas. You need an arm, to shoot fireworks. So that's what I judge. If it was up to me, and it's not up to me, it's up to commissioners and you, and I appreciate that more than anything, because I don't want the responsibility myself. But if we ban sticks and fins and we go to 4 days, I think you if anything, it's showing respect for the fire department and what goes on here. But that's just me. And that's what we're doing.
And I think it's gonna mitigate some of what's being brought into the county by neighboring counties and help with the fire department problem, because you're gonna have, I mean, they're gonna buy.
They're gonna get it, you're right.
I mean, that's just like a dope going out and getting what he wants.
Go ahead,
He's selling Waco, go down to Hillsborough.
Mr. Holmes, yeah.
I don't know the first thing about operating fireworks stand, but do the individual retailer, did any of y'all cover business interruption insurance? Or business interruption insurance? Where,
No,
where it could get shut down?
Fireworks are one of those businesses that they really don't want to insure because that key word. And that's what it is. It's a word. It's fireworks. And it's not a good sounding name, but it's what they were named in the 1700s and way back in Roman times. So we deal with it.
We do have premises liability insurance on our stand. We have product liability if a person is harmed using one of those fireworks right there.
Yeah,
If
we
they're
have to
harmed,
carry that.
I get that. I'm asking specifically.
Okay, I know, Judge Blackburn asked me the same thing, the kid throws a firecracker over here and he burned the field, do you have liability insurance to cover it?
He's asking a different question.
No, he's asking if we recover our loss.
Right.
Through an insurance
We don't
company.
have drought insurance, there is drought insurance out there, but we can't afford it.
So if you go buy $10,000 worth of fireworks, you only sold $5,000, $2,500. You can return the remaining fireworks.
They're yours.
Once you buy it,
You buy it.
I bought mine 2 years ago. I ordered mine from China 2 years ago.
He's who we buy from. So
I mean, that's what I
So
say,
you-
but all my own stands as well.
I bought mine in January, and I own most of my stands, and when you buy it, you own it.
And I didn't buy this, I
If
bought
it's
some in
big,
May,
Big.
but I also knew that there was possibly gonna be a burn ban because I talked with the commissioners out in the field. But in June, I didn't do my buying up until I actually picked up my fireworks on the 13th. Because there was nothing coming on, so I thought, okay, I'm not gonna have to look at what happened in May. Then all of a sudden, I go and get $40,000 worth of fireworks, and the day I opened bingo, you can't sell. I mean, that's 40,000 I put out that I'm not getting back.
I just say, I spent $170,000 January, February. I bought since then. So there's big to us.
Yes, sir. If you would identify yourself for the record, please.
Jonathan Davis.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm a
Davis.
couple of stands. I thought that I had been in the firework business for a long time. I've done it for 24 years, but I'm a rookie here. You know, I think one thing that's super important that we need to understand is that the volunteer fire departments, we need to be sensitive to them as well. And I think having it saying, you know, yes, we can do things and rockets, those types of things. One of the things I do want to point out as far as volunteer fire departments, things like that, is if we are able to push where we can only sell over the weekend, their labor is more available during that time. You know, and I think that I know for myself, especially I have a stand in Rowan County as well. And, you know, in those situations, we are very, hey, have some water with you. Don't do anything stupid. You know, those types of things, put it on a smooth, hard surface. One of the things that I also tell them is even when you are doing cakes, put a couple of cinder blocks against the stuff. You know, and there are those types of things that you can do. I almost started a fire on the land behind or I actually started a fire on the land behind my house and west when I was doing a fireworks show at my house. You know, and so those are things that we understand. And the reason that it started was because the guy was doing it too fast and he wasn't putting the cinder blocks on the side. You know, and so there are those types of helpful hints that we can also give to go along with that. You know, and as far as loss, we don't have any type of insurance like that. You know, the equivalent to what we have going on is the exact same thing that the farmer hits harvest time and his fields are wet and he can't get in there. I mean, he's done all the work, he's done everything right, but when it's time to make the money, he can't do it. You know, and we don't have insurance and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't know, that's why.
Yeah, you know, in my capital outlay, my capital outlay is about $35,000 by the time I pay all the taxes and all that kind of stuff. My even amount is $50,000. You know, and so it's one of those deals that there is a lot of money in here, and for the guys that own their stand, and they don't do it on consignment, this is a significant thing, because I can say my distributor, they still almost their $35,000.
Thank you.
How many volunteer fire departments do y'all have in Hill County?
17. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
18.
17. Hang on a second. Go ahead.
My name's Kenneth Rollins. I'm the president of the ESD1 here in this county. We have 16 volunteer fire departments and 2 that have opted out of the ESD.
Wow.
Now, I've listened to the businessmen. I understand where you are today and everything else. Our problem has been and always will be a thing called people. We live under the 10% rule. 10% are outstanding, 10% are not outstanding. They're at the bottom of the barrel. We have 80% in the middle. We don't worry about the 80% in the middle because they're average, they're going to obey the law. The 10% below us are not going to obey the law. There's several people in here that as old as I am or close to it. I can remember back in the good old days when the soft drink companies put out bottles. Coca-Cola especially had big old thick bottles. Now, as a kid, I remember going out and putting out fires, and guess what caused them? Glass and sunlight, magnifying glass. We have people today that will obey our burn bans. We have people that will not obey their burn bans. We have people that go out and do what they want to do and don't listen to anything that's going on.
That's that bottom 10% you talked about.
Doesn't make any difference where they are. I had a neighbor, he said, I watched that wind all morning. He wanted to burn off his field. He says the wind was not blowing until I lit that match and stood up. We are dealing with volunteer fire departments that want to stay home this weekend and enjoy the same holiday that everybody else is doing. Think about them and what you're doing. I don't care how safe your products are. I can fix it where it's not safe.
I think that's why we're out here today, and I'm trying to.
It is.
Okay,
That's why
guys,
I'm-
we gotta let them talk one at a time, please, one at a time. Everybody gets a fair chance to talk. Can't talk over anybody else.
That's why I'm here today. I come to court every time I get a chance, just to keep up with what goes on in the county. And I'm here especially for this today because I'm worried about these people right here, their families and everything else. I live in the country. I have been out on here. I have been out at 10 o'clock at night putting out fires when the burn ban is on. The kids listened to me. The old lady didn't. She kept throwing stuff on there, keeping the fire going. This is what we deal with. I understand y'all are going to lose money if you cannot save it. My people, I may lose people because they have to go out and put out a fire. Folks, there is no answer to this. We have to use common sense. Whatever the commissioners do is going to be fine with all of us because that's their job. It's not my job. I support them. I come up here to support them. Judge, I thank you for this time. I'm worried about 16 volunteer fire departments.
And I'm fixing to do something that Chester's gonna shake his head, scratch his head about.
What's that?
I'm fixing to volunteer to donate to the volunteer fire.
I appreciate that, but I'm not trying to put anybody on the hook, and that's not going to sway my decision making one way or the other. I appreciate your magnanimity and wanting to support those volunteer fire departments. I'm not trying to talk you guys out of donation. but that's not what we're here to do. You know, the question of the day is how do we protect the interest of the citizens of Hill County? And we have to balance that with the interest here. I mean, let's just go back and fair is fair. We had a duty by the 15th of June normally to ban fireworks, to ban sticks and fins. 15th of June, it wasn't a problem here. It was a little dry, but it wasn't bad. There was rain in the forecast. Then we got 11 days in a row of 101, 103, 104 southwest wind, and it turned into a stinking blast furnace in 11 days around here. It's terrible. You know, my concern is what can we legally do, what can we not legally do? And we've tried to be by the book on this thing from the get-go. And we want to have a conversation about what we can and can't do. I think that we've got the legal authority to ban the sticks and fins. I think there's nothing there that we can't enforce if we had to. I do concern somewhat, in all honesty, about our authority to ban mortars and stakes and other things. I don't know where we stand absent the governor replying to our request on that. And I would rather take something. I ain't gonna allow good to be the enemy of perfect. How about that? I'd rather take some kind of agreement amongst all parties that we limit things while we're waiting on the governor to make up his mind what he's going to do. And he may come down and say, hey, we're going to limit every last bit of it. He may come back and tell us we're going to limit fins and that's it, or we're going to limit sticks and fins. I don't know what the governor's office is going to do. But I do know is I've got some good, well-intentioned people in this courtroom, from my firefighters to my fireworks stand folks, and everybody coming today to have a civil conversation about something that's a difficult issue. And I appreciate that. Most importantly, Mr. Irwin, I appreciate the education. There's been a lot happening in fireworks that I haven't kept up with. And thank you for showing all of us. The folks at home are going to see this. It'll be online later. So I'm glad everybody gave their best effort today. That being said, commissioners, what are y'all's thoughts on this?
I think if they will not sell all of this stuff here to put out, go 4 days, I could live with that.
Can you live with that? Can you live with that?
There's 3 sides to this pie.
Yes, sir.
What are we gonna do about burn?
I'm still going to enforce a burn. I'm going to ask you gentlemen to A, adopt my disaster declaration, B, to adopt the burn ban and continue it forward, because there's no two ways around it. We've got to have a burn ban at this point. It's too dry. It's just too dry. And the C, we have to have some restrictions that we can legally enforce on fireworks. There has to be something there. And that's the 3 things that I'm asking. And I guess the question for me at the end of the day, I know where I'm voting the first 2, obviously, that's pretty clear. The third one is the fireworks restrictions. Again, it comes down to balancing interests in the county. And number 2 is, and just as importantly to me, is what can we legally enforce and what can we not legally enforce? Because the last thing I want to do is put something together today that nobody agrees on. In 3 days, the governor finally comes back and says something different. We all got to scramble back in this room at the last moment, get y'all back in here, get us back in here and try to figure out something else. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So
There's 3 parts of this pie that I see.
yes, sir.
The fire department, fireworks people, and the enforcement. As Tom Henry said, it's not the gun that's killing people. They're using the gun.
But any people are really using fireworks.
Regardless,
whether they sell them.
and I'm not trying to burden the sheriff department, but if you get a call, we got a burn ban and they shoot fireworks and you get a call and you go up and all of a sudden, hey, you can do that, and you leave. No citation issue, no.
Yeah, we can't arrest them for it. I don't think,
I mean,
maybe could.
Well, but then
if you started a fire like that, you started a fire there, that's awesome.
if they're going to be violating this,
Yeah.
they may be doing something else illegal that they can do.
No, you're right. Burn ban violation probably cause to address other issues.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
So, at least limiting the sale of what they can get their hands on. I think it's a fair compromise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like I said, I don't have deep parties though. And the governor's not gonna say so.
Yeah, he couldn't sit there on his hands
I
until
don't
the
think
last
we can-
moment. Yeah.
I don't think we can legally just say, no, can't sell fireworks.
I think we've got a pretty good argument for certain fireworks. If you go back to the code, I think sticks and fins, those things, we've got a great argument for. We have to wait on the governor's approval for the rest of it. And since the governor has not yet responded to our letter on this, and we have sent it in due time period, and we've waited, we've heard back from other parties, but not him. And like I said, we're bashing the governor here, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to throw somebody else under the bus. I'm just simply saying that's part of this process, is we have to ask for certain permissions for certain things from the governor's office. And since we don't have that back yet, and I don't know how that's going to go, and I don't know when we're going to hear from them, they may wait till July 5th and go, you know what, you ban all of it now. You just don't know what they're going to do. But if we have folks in the room that are good intention, good willing, and we can all come to agreement, we can all live by, I'd rather take that settlement today and then the uncertainty of what's going to happen to your pocketbooks, what's going to happen to the citizens of Hill County, what's going to happen to my fire departments. If we're all on the same page and we can all operate under the same set of rules, we all get along, we're giving out the information about how to safely do this. We got the dummies. If we didn't have dummies, I wouldn't have a job. Neither would have this now. It's just fact. You've got people that don't obey the rules. So I can't stop everything that's going to happen. But I do find myself in favor of a middle ground here. And that middle ground is to adopt the disaster declaration, adopt the burn ban, and to ban bottle rockets, sticks and fins, spinners, missiles, the things that the code clearly allows us the authority without the governor's approval to do and get on down the road. And then that leaves the mortars, the fountains, the cakes, the firecrackers, and your best efforts to try to educate people that come to your businesses to go, hey, this is what you got to do to safely do this. And I know that doesn't relieve all the burden on you, but by limiting those sales to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're going to waste your weekend. I'm sorry, but it's better than we do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as well. And that's the biggest issue. You're right. It's not just fireworks that start fires, because I've got guys cutting hay out there to start fires. I got idiots that throw cigarettes out that start fires. The problem is it's one more thing on that pile. And when you tax our fire departments, they're volunteers, God bless them. They do wonderful work for us for nothing but thanks. And when they've already got all this other stuff to contend with, sometimes that last thing to straw will break the camel's back. So I find myself in favor today of adopting the disaster declaration under 418 of the government code, and adopting the burn ban under 352 of the government code, and further under that section, adopting a ban on the sales and use of the following fireworks: bottle rockets, ground blooms, missiles, fins and sticks, and spinners. That's where I find myself at the moment.
Is that a motion?
If that's a motion, I will agree to it, providing each one of the fireworks people stand up and assure us that they will not say, we'll guarantee it.
We're not here to pull anything over.
No.
We're gonna do what we said we're gonna do. We're gonna get rid of that.
Everybody will stand up and say it. I feel good about it.
All right, go ahead.
So, any more vote?
Do we all vote to do this?
I
agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
All right, so we got a motion and second to adopt. You need to repeat that whole thing again. Do you write all that down? I don't see anything.
I would rather you write it down.
I didn't see anything. I was going to read it back. It sounded really good the first time. All right, I have a motion to adopt a disaster. Have a motion to adopt a declaration of local disaster under 418 of the government code and institute a burn ban under 352 of the local government code, and further ban the sales and use of bottle rockets, ground bloom, missiles, fins and sticks, and spinners in Hill County for a duration not to exceed 90 days. Further, it is agreed that we will not allow the sales of the other fireworks until, I guess, 12:01 a.m. Friday morning. That would be Thursday night, 1 minute after midnight, Thursday night. I don't know, what are your regulations of when you guys can be open to sell? 24 hours a day? What I'm getting at is we'll start selling Friday, and it ends when it ends legally on the 4th, midnight on the 4th. So that is my motion.
That doesn't sound like what you said first.
Oh, that's terrible. You guys
It's
are
all that
tough.
middle stuff.
You guys are tough on me, I swear.
No.
No, she didn't get it down.
I'm just gonna listen to it.
Sure can get 24 hours.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, that's my motion. Is that the second? Okay, motion and second. Is there any further discussion from any party? This affects everybody in our county. It's not just this commissioner's court. We're trying to have a conversation and talk to everybody about this. Well, if there's nothing else, then I'm going to call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you all for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take about a 5-minute recess because my diuretic has kicked in, so we will be right back. You're welcome to take those with you.
You don't want?
No.
I can't sell them, I can give them away. We appreciate it, Commissioners, y'all doing good work.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. Put your hand up, I didn't get back to you.
I was here as a representative for the school booster. I know, it's a typical thing, they never listen to us. I'm here as a multi-representative. We do a fundraiser for